Okay, on this week's edition, we're going to have, we talked a little bit last week about the BEP Good Faith Effort and the Good Faith Effort waiver database on the CPOGS website. And we got a couple questions and want to just kind of go back and clarify a couple things. The difference between the BEP Good Faith Effort waiver and the BEP Goal Exemption. So two different things. We'll kind of unpack both of those and get into that. And then just a couple kind of reminders sort of things regarding bid buy login assistance, using the item upload if you use that feature for requisitions or bids, and then searching vendors on a home screen. So just kind of a reminder that how vendors can do that. It really stems from another vendor training that I did last week, but it's one of those things that it'd be good for you guys to know what the vendors can search for and those sorts of things. So if you get in situations or are contacted from vendors, you could potentially show them. And then fun fact of the day and quote of the day. All right, so first up, so I left this slide up from last week regarding the BEP waiver database. So just as a quick reminder from last week, if you weren't with us, Section 7.5 of the BEP Act requires that the CPO's office maintain a database of these three different documents, a searchable database. The good faith effort waivers granted by the BEP program. Counsel when a vendor demonstrates a good faith effort to comply with the BEP participation goals in a solicitation. An agency's written request for a goal exemption for an individual contract or an entire class of contracts. And then finally, the BEP Council's written determination, which has been delegated to the BEP program, granting or denying a request for an exemption. So it'll be one or the other for any particular procurement. You wouldn't have a situation where you would have a good faith effort waiver and a BEP goal exemption. Okay, so they are two different things. On a procurement, you could potentially have a good faith effort waiver, or you'll have the BEP goal exemption and the written determination. So you'll never have all three of them. I think maybe last week I might have said something in terms of the CPO notice where you would send. I think I said something like that. You know, you'd send those documents or send those three documents to Diana Segrist, and so that might have caused some confusion. So I apologize for that. It would be one or the other. So this is the slide that was left up from last week. And so the link it goes to our procurement resource library on our CPOGS website. And that, again, from the BEP Act, that has to be public facing, and so you will send the documents, whether it's the good faith effort waiver granted by the BEP Council, or the goal exemption, the agency's written request, and the written determination would also go to Diana Segrist, and then that'll go onto the searchable database. So let's talk about that just a little bit more. Okay, so good faith effort waiver versus the BEP goal exemption. So the good faith effort waiver is in a situation of where you have a BEP goal percentage of say 20%, but when a vendor submits their bid or offer as a part of their U plan, they have a good faith effort trying to reach that goal, but they are unsuccessful. So the BEP goal is 20%, let's say, and the vendor completes the U plan. They have a good faith effort. They've contacted all of the potential subcontracting vendors, and they're only going to be able to meet 10% of it. At that point, they are asking for a good faith effort waiver. So this is going to occur at the award stage, and then it's initiated by the vendor's bid or offer, all their documentation as a part of that U plan. And again, that U plan needs to be submitted as a part of their quote at the time of bid. Okay, that can't be cured later if they don't submit a U plan. Okay, so that's the good faith effort waiver, right? That's at the award stage, where the BEP goal exemption is prior to being even published. So if calculated normally, there would be a BEP goal, but an agency requests an exemption for an individual contract or an entire class of contracts. So one example here would be the benefits contracts. Would be one of those where an entire class of contracts or an individual contract is set up for a BEP goal exemption. And so this occurs prior to the solicitation it ever being published. And so this would be initiated by the agency. So two completely different things here. They do both need to be posted on that CPOGS website where we showed you. So you'll go into the procurement resource library. There's a new folder at the bottom that says BEP waivers. But so two different things here. Let's see here. Got a question. When the exemption is granted as part of the BEP compliance plan for the upcoming year, are we still supposed to mail something to CPO? Do you want the compliance plans for upcoming years? So if the exemption is granted, yes, so going back to that CPO notice, that is where, if I'm understanding the question correctly, you would email Diana Segrist the agency's written request for the exemption, as well as the BEP Council's written determination of that, granting or denying that. In terms of the compliance plans for upcoming years, I don't know. I will have to make a note of that and get back to you regarding the compliance plan. Okay, so and of course, if you have any other questions, again, this might be one of those things where it you don't know until it happens to a procurement that you're a part of. So if you ever have any questions regarding that, reach out to your SPO, or you can reach out to me as well, and we can make sure that we get your answers to your questions. And of course, you could always reach out to BEP as well, as they can help you. Okay, I see. Requested exemptions are often a part of the compliance plan. Okay, I don't want to give you an answer because I'm not sure in terms of the compliance plans. All I know is what it was in the CPO notice regarding the written request and the exemption determination, whether that's granting or denying. So either way, so even if you do, if an agency does request an exemption and it's denied, that also still needs to be posted as well. But I'll circle back and get with you there. Okay, so that's a good faith effort waiver and BEP goal exemptions. Next up, regarding bid buy login assistance. So this is just kind of just a reminder, honestly, using the bid buy login assistance. So in the screenshot here, you can see the right below where you put in your password. If you're like me, I've utilized this login assistance quite a bit. If you can use your login assistance to click right below that for forgot user ID, or if you forgot your password, you can reset it that way. So the state user help desk in the past was able to actually reset your password for you, and then they would send you your new password, and then you could go in and change it as you wanted to. But as an update from one of the recent previous versions of BidBuy, for security reasons, that's no longer even an option. So just a reminder to utilize, you don't need to contact state user if you potentially get locked out or if you forgot your password. That login assistance is there for use for you. However, we know that sometimes some things can get a little funky, and maybe you do get locked out and it says you're locked out for 15 minutes. After that 15 minutes, you can go in and just do the login assistance and kind of take care of it yourself if you'd like. Now that is, I'm not saying don't ever contact state user for login issues. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that you can take care of some of those things yourself. The state user help desk can initiate that same email as the login assistance, but just know that they're essentially doing the same thing that you're doing. If you get locked out after too many attempts, or you have to wait the 15 minutes, again, if you do need assistance, by all means, still please contact state user, but they don't have the ability to essentially reset your password in the way that they used to. So they'll just initiate that same email that would be then sent directly to you, so they don't have that authority or the power to actually reset the password. Okay, again, if you have any questions regarding that, you can reach out to me or the state user help desk. It's just you. We'd hate for you to be working maybe after hours or something, waiting for the state user to reset your password when you can do that on your own. All right. Okay, next up, using the upload items at the rec or bid for there's a feature that if you are uploading a bunch of line items, you can use the upload items feature. And this is just a screenshot from a requisition. Um, Remember, when you're adding your items, you have the option to add an open market item. You can search items if you want to search for an item for something that has made it to a PO in the past, or you can use the upload items feature. Now, that upload items feature is if you have a lot of, or it's usually used when you have a lot of line items. Say you have 100 line items and you don't want to go in and create a line item at a time. You can go in and upload items. What you do is you upload a spreadsheet, and then all the line items line up that way. If you do utilize that feature, just make sure that you save and continue after you do that. So what'll happen is you'll upload those items, then all your items will be there on that screen. So it may give you the sense that, oh, all my items have been added. You actually then still need to select save and continue, because what can happen is if you then move on to your next tab, you go to the accounting tab to go through your steps to do the accounting and set your approval paths. That's not actually saving and not setting the proper approval paths correctly for all of your items because you didn't save the uploaded items. So just trying to save a potential issue there moving forward. Like I said, I don't think a lot of agencies utilize that feature. And if you do have any questions regarding that upload items feature, please reach out to me. We could set up a quick time to walk through it. It is a pretty handy feature if you have a lot of line items. So yeah, just make sure that you're hitting that save and continue prior to moving away from your items tab. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, so this is helpful, Tim. This came up from searching for vendors from the home screen. So really, this stemmed from a vendor training, but I think it would be helpful for you guys to know if you don't already know what the vendors can search for from the home screen. And so this can just be, again, this isn't necessarily specific to your responsibilities and your duties, but it's always good to know what the system can do. So particularly if you are a solicitation contact for a procurement, and it's good to know how these things or how the system works. So from the home screen, I'm not even logged in. Um, Vendors can search by using the advanced search, and really where this came from was vendors asking how uh, BEP vendors asking how can they contact and how would they know potential prime contractors to reach out and for subcontracting opportunities. And so vendors can use the advanced search and then search for the vendors, and they can search for NIGP code. So it's very similar. It's different, but it's similar in how we use our advanced search once we're logged in. You have a lot of different options. You have different document types that you can search, or once you get into the vendor side, you have a lot of different parameters that you can search for. And so vendors are able to go in and search for, okay, all our vendors with, I don't know, I'll just pick one here, 918 consulting. Okay. And so vendors do have the option too to search for maybe other BEP firms, BEP certified. But in this case, we're just going to look for all vendors that are registered under that contracting, or excuse me, that NIGP code. Another option too is searching for small business set-aside vendors or veteran-owned businesses as well. But from a vendor standpoint, in this particular example, a procurement goes out with a particular NIGP code. I'm a BEP sub, and I'm looking for a potential prime. I can go in and search for other vendors that have that NIGP code. Okay, so while we don't usually have the vendors list or all the bidders list available to all of our vendors as a part of the solicitation, those vendors can still go in and find that information by just going in and using that advanced search. Okay. So like I said, it's not probably going to be a part of your responsibilities per se, but it is good to know how the system can be utilized. All right, we'll go back to our slides here. Another comment here. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate your communication assistance as we implement the new provisions of SB 1608. Yep, absolutely. Glad to do it. And that feature has always been there. I just think that we haven't on the state side, we haven't really talked about those things as much. But I appreciate the comment too, because there will be a little bit more of those questions that you'll receive as well. All right, so no practice session this week. I left this up just if you are new to Training Tuesday or new to bid buy. We do have these bid buy practice sessions that are the second and third Thursday of each month. We talk about it each week. I'm just going to leave the slide there because you can get to the link here. But as July is a little bit of a weird month because the first Thursday was actually July 1st. So the second and third Thursdays were the last two Thursdays. So this week it's actually the fourth Thursday in July. So we do not have a practice session set up for this, but I leave the slide in there just so everybody knows that that is an opportunity for anybody if they want to jump in, and we'll see you for those practice sessions in August. And then also, where can I find the Training Tuesday and Bid by Training links? That's a very common question, so I just leave a slide here. Calendar of events is here for the upcoming Bid by trainings as well as our Training Tuesdays. So we get to our fun fact of the day, or in this case, a random useless fact of the day maybe. There aren't actually 57 varieties of Heinz ketchup, and there never were. Company founder A.J. Heinz thought his product should have a number, and he liked 57. So I also read another piece of, I think it was just on Wikipedia or something, but his lucky number was 5 and his wife's lucky number was 7, so they put that together. And also a little hint, hit the glass bottle on the 57, not the bottom, to get the ketchup to flow. And then our quote of the day, Muhammad Ali, don't count the days, make the days count. I love the efficiency of that quote and everything that that includes. All right, do we have any other questions before we close it out? Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Make the days count. We'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you.